Good evening to all and welcome to the session, the Hindu Editorial Analysis for Proficiency in English. Today's editorial is all about environment. Any editorial related to environment is very important. You may get in some form or other, either in prelims or mains. And there are some important words. Let us start with editorial vocabulary. The very first word, reckon. A reckon part of speech verb, it's a regular verb, meaning to calculate, estimate, or consider something. Generally, I give the meaning reckon means to think deeply. Example, I reckon it will take about an hour to reach the destination. Means I think it will take about an hour to reach the destination. Word forms reckon, as I said, it's a verb, a regular verb. Reckoning, verb ing form used as a noun, that is gerund. Word combinations reckon with something, reckon on something. Synonyms calculate, estimate, evaluate. Antonyms disregard, ignore, neglect. Based on consider something. An important word, wrangle. Many youngsters, especially guys, in the past there was a brand Wrangler jeans, a very popular brand. Now I don't know whether it is there or not, but Wrangler noun form, here wrangle verb. To argue or dispute, especially in a noisy or angry manner, then we use the word wrangle. And the person is called a wrangler. Example, the neighbors continue to wrangle over the property boundary. They continue to argue or dispute over the property boundary. Word forms a wrangle verb, a wrangling noun. You can also think of the word a wrangler, a person, that is also a noun. Word combinations wrangle out. Synonyms quarrel, dispute, bicker. Bicker generally we use in the ing form, bickering. Bickering means what? Fighting, arguing. Antonyms agree, concur, concurrence, an important word. Harmonize, a positive word. Consensus, an important word we have got many a time. Part of speech noun, general agreement or accord among a group of people. All the people in a particular group say the same thing. They don't oppose one another. Then we say consensus. Disagree at loggerheads. Very good, Tripura Sundari. Consensus noun. The committee reached a consensus on the proposed changes. Means they all agreed. Word forms consensus verb. I'm sorry, it is a noun here, noun. And consensual adjective form. But generally, we don't use the adjective form, we use the noun form. Word combinations, consensus building. This goes with the workplace, management, employees. Consensus view or stand. We also use the word stand. Synonyms agreement, harmony, unity. Antonyms disagreement, dissent, discord. Here you can use apple of discord, bone of contention, always being at loggerheads. Articulate, an important word, it goes with speaking, part of speech verb, meaning to express thoughts or ideas clearly and coherently. Hmm. Yes, very good. A good example. Example here, she could articulate her thoughts in a way that captivated the audience. Means what? Audience were, in a sense, they were quite impressed. Contention, exactly. She could articulate her thoughts in a way that captivated the audience. Word forms articulate verb. Articulate again, it could be adjective. Articulately adverb. Articulator noun. A person. Word combinations articulate a position, articulate speech, an important combination. Synonyms express enunciation, another important word, enunciate verb, enunciation noun. Vocalize, express your views. Antonyms mumble, stumble, inarticulate. not speaking clearly, mumble. He's a mumbler. There is one expression. Stumble also you can say. The next one, convention. Convention has got two different meanings. One, noun, a widely accepted and customary way of doing things. It means a tradition. It's a convention, means what? It's a tradition. Second meaning, a large formal assembly or meeting or gathering. We use the word convention. The annual convention attracted attendees from around the world. You can also say the annual convention attracted delegates from around the world. Ah, very good. Rhetoric. That goes with public speaking. Word forms convention, noun. Conventional, adjective. Conventional means traditional. Word combinations, convention center, here it is an adjective, and conventionally adverbial form. Synonyms, as I said, tradition, custom, conference. Two different meanings. One meaning, synonyms you can say tradition or custom. The other one, conference, meeting. And antonyms, very good, Naidu Paidi. Innovation, unconventionality, break from the tradition. Abstain, we have got many a time. Here, part of speech verb, it takes a preposition from. To refrain, abstain, refrain, two important words I've given many a time in different competitive exams. To refrain or withhold from doing something, typically voting, may not be. Usually, I give the example keep away from bad habits, abstain from drinking, refrain from doing something. Example, she decided to abstain from voting on the controversial issue. It goes with voting as well. Word forms abstain, verb, abstention, noun form. You got to be careful with the noun form because the spelling has changed. Ah, very good. I appreciate abstain, refrain. Yes, give up, abandon, leave. Yes. Word combinations abstain from, abstain, vote, but generally takes a preposition from. What are the synonyms? Refrain, forbear, avoid. These words are very important. You got to spend some time after the session to remember. Do away is a phrasal verb. Antonyms participate, engage, vote. Or indulge, another word you have to think of. Unabated, part of speech adjective. What is opposite abated? Without any reduction in intensity or strength. Usually it goes with rains, heavy rains. Without any reduction in intensity or strength. The storm raged unabated throughout the night. As I said, this word goes with the rains, storm, cyclone, hurricane, typhoon, all these. The storm raged unabated throughout the night. Word forms only one form, unabated. Word combinations, unabated fury, without any break or without coming down, anger, unabated fury, unabated enthusiasm. One is negative, the other one is positive. Synonyms, uninterrupted, unrelenting, relentless, you can also think of that, and persistent, another important word. Antonyms, abated, diminished, reduced. Ease off, there's one phrasal verb you have to recollect. I use this quite often, reiterate, part of speech verb, it's a regular verb. To say or do something again, usually for emphasis or clarity. Example, the teacher had to reiterate the importance of completing assignments on time or in time. Rain, cats, and dogs, very good. Word forms, reiterate verb, reiteration, noun form. Word combinations, reiterate the point, reiterate the need, reiterate the importance of something. Synonyms, repeat, emphasize, restate. Antonyms, discontinue, ignore, neglect. Antonyms are not that important here. The next word is an important word. Someone has already mentioned eschew, part of speech verb. Same meaning, to deliberately avoid or abstain from. Abstain, this one, synonyms. Example, health conscious individuals often eschew processed foods because they are not good for health. Word forms eschew verb, eschewed verb, past form. Word combinations eschew bad habits, refrain from bad habits. This is a typical example I give. Refrain from bad habits, eschew from bad habits, eschew certain foods, avoid certain foods. Synonyms: avoid, shun. Shun is an important word. Shun means to avoid something. Shun also means to feel shy, renounce, give up. Antonyms: embrace, accept, adopt. I appreciate those students who have been contributing. Really good. Keep doing that. Paradox, we have got many a time. Now, eschew violence, very good. Subakha. Meaning a statement or situation that appears contradictory or self defeating but may be true. Two opposing things exist at the same time. Then we say paradoxical, both positive and negative. The idea that less is more is a paradox that many struggle to understand. This is a very good example. Here, the idea that less is more, less negative side, more positive side. So the idea that less is more is a paradox that many struggle to understand. Many people struggle to understand that statement. Less is more, not easy to understand. Boomerang has a different meaning altogether, Naidu, but I appreciate you have mentioned anomaly, a different meaning, Suresh. Good, keep doing that. Word forms: paradox, noun, paradoxical adjective, paradoxically adverb. Word combinations: paradox of choice, paradoxical outcome, paradoxical nature, paradoxical situation. Synonyms: contradiction, anomaly. Someone has mentioned that. Enigma. Antonyms: certainty, consistency, clarity. Those are the words from today's editorial. Let us go to the tone of the editorial. The tone of the editorial is critical and skeptical. We have got the word skeptical many a time. What does it mean? Skeptical, doubt something. Skeptic, a person who doubts someone or something. Cynical, a person with a negative attitude, a pessimist. Both are entirely different. It highlights the gap between the global commitment to renewable energy and the actual actions taken by major economies, particularly focusing on India and China's abstention from endorsing the pledge to triple renewable energy capacity. If you read this, dubious means doubtful. Here, there are two dimensions. One, keeping away, moving away from fossil fuels. The other one, going towards renewable sources of energy. The editorial says countries are depending more on fossil fuels and they're not able to switch over to non conventional sources of energy or renewable sources of energy. Let us see how it starts. Honest reckoning, honest thinking, honest estimate. About what? On the reality behind the commitment to renewable energy. So, what is the reality behind the commitment to what? A renewable energy. As I said, this is about using renewable energy or non conventional sources of energy like solar energy, wind energy, all these. And to what extent the commitment is the reality behind the commitment related to renewable energy. But what is the main idea of this editorial? Major world economies seem unwilling to move away from fossil fuels or fossil fuel. This is the main idea. The editorial says the major economies, developed countries, they are unwilling, not willing to move away from fossil fuel. When they move away from fossil fuel, obviously they have to resort to renewable sources of energy. They are not doing that. That is the main idea of the editorial. The boundary wall enclosing discussions around global climate is 1.5 degrees Celsius. The boundary wall enclosing discussions around global climate is 1.5 degrees Celsius, or the average increase in global temperatures since pre industrial times. We all know the goal. It should not cross 1.5 degrees, but it's not happening. Now that 1 degrees is crossed, all the wrangling underway means what? Arguments, fight, whatever it is, underway at the climate summit in Dubai is to cap the half degree rise. Cap here means control, the half degree rise. Global pledges, the promises, the oath pledges to cut emissions are insufficient to achieve this. So the editorial takes a particular stand. What is a stand? Whatever the countries say, the global pledges or the oaths to cut emissions are insufficient to achieve this goal. Current estimates are that to limit warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius, the world requires a three times more renewable energy capacity by 2030. Three times more renewable energy capacity by 2030, hardly not even 10 years, 7 years, or at least 11,000 gigawatts. So it is something like an uphill task. That there is wide global consensus on the need for this tripling. Everyone agrees, unanimous, there is a need for this tripling was first formally articulated, stated clearly in the New Delhi's leaders' declaration at the G20 summit in Delhi in September. In the run up to the Dubai summit, run up, usually it goes with elections. Before election, something happens, the time period before the major event, we use run up. In the run up to the Dubai summit, it was perceived, it was understood that this would be widely endorsed by the larger group of about 190 countries signatory to the UN Convention on Climate. So before the summit, they thought it was perceived that this would be widely endorsed. Endorsed means what? Support publicly. Usually it goes with a celebrity supporting, encouraging a particular product or supporting a particular cause, endorsed by the larger group of about 190 countries signatory part to the UN Convention on Climate. But what happened? It turns out that so far 118 countries out of 190, 118 countries have endorsed the pledge, and two major countries, India and China, have so far abstained from signing. They are not willing to sign, abstained from signing. The Global Renewables and Energy Efficiency Pledge, that is a pledge, while still a draft text, it is still in the process of giving fine tuning, giving the final shape. While still a draft text, says that in the pursuit of tripling renewable energy capacity, signatories, the countries that are part of the convention, should also commit to phase down of unabated coal power without unabated coal power, in particular ending the continued investment in unabated new coal-fired power plants. This is a major red line for India. Means something not possible, something difficult. It talks about, as I said, there are two things. One, they have to focus on renewable sources of energy. The other one, they have to cut down, phase down using fossil fuels, coal power, but that is not happening. They have to invest more in renewable sources of energy. And this is a major red line for India, means a major threat or something difficult for India to implement. While India has positioned itself as a champion for renewable energy, an important sentence, India has positioned itself means the image, the public image, as a champion for renewable energy. Its 2030 targets, as articulated in its formal nationally determined contributions (NDC), speak of tripling renewable energy capacity to 500 gigawatts from the current 170 gigawatts. It has reiterated several times that it could not be forced to give up certain fuels. There is a goal, but there is another dimension. What is it? Whether something is pragmatic or not. Pragmatic means what? Practical. So here 500 is a target, tripling renewable energy capacity to 500 gigawatts. But what is the current one? 170. There's a lot of gap. It has reiterated, said many a time, several times that it could not be forced. It should not be forced. It could not be forced to give up certain fuels because India, if it has to switch to renewable sources of energy, two things are required. One is investment. Second, the technology, the technical know-how. And till that time they have to depend on certain fossil fuels and they should not be forced to give up or move away from those fossil fuels. That's what the sentence talks about. Coal-fired plants are responsible for nearly 70% of India's greenhouse gas emissions. Developed countries that have made commitments to give up coal often have other large fossil fuel resources as backup. Developed countries also, though they have made commitments to give up coal, often have other large fossil fuel resources as backup. That is also not good for the environment. The United States joined 56 other countries at Dubai in a commitment to completely eschew, means what? Avoid coal for its energy use by 2035, not immediately, by 2035. However, the US only draws about 20% of its energy from coal and at least 55% from oil and gas, with plans to actually produce more of it in 2030 than at present. Oil and gas. The paradox of the world's major economies' commitment. Paradox means what? Contrasting situation of the world's major economies. Look at this word, important word. Today I'm not touching the grammar part. Economy is a noun in the plural form, then you have to use apostrophe. It is in the last letter is S. You have to use apostrophe after the letter S. Commitment to renewable energy is that it is not, as of now, actively geared to replace fossil fuel. That is a paradox. See, here there are two dimensions. One is switching over, not using fossil fuels, and switching over to renewable sources of energy. It is easier said than done. Not practical in the sense, a bit difficult to implement. Till there is an important expression you have to remember. Common error, a lot of people say he is a honest person. Wrong. He is an honest person. Till there's an honest commitment to actually replace existing and future fossil capacity with clean energy. So there's a commitment and also replace. Pledges and declarations are worth little more than the paper they are drafted on. How does the editorial end? I think I've done it very fast. Till there is an honest commitment to actually replace existing and future fossil capacity with clean energy, pledges and declarations are worth little more than the paper they are drafted on. As long as they keep talking, they put something on paper but don't implement, they are of no use, don't make any sense whatsoever. That's what I think it ends on that particular note, rather sarcastic, on a sarcastic note. These are the courses I'm offering right now. Only one course is a live batch, essay course for civil services, mains. Other, you can have a look and go through the details. You get an idea, each one, what it is about. Let us go to questions based on this editorial. Because we have got many a time, Pandu, environment related, I have done so many times. Today, that's the reason why I haven't done analysis in the real sense. In a way, I have just read out here and there. I talked about important aspects because we have done many a time. Read the first question. What is the main focus of the editorial's criticism? The lack of global consensus on climate change goals, the commitment of major economies to renewable energy, the specific targets set by India and China, the role of the United States in the Dubai summit, the lack of global consensus on climate change goals. Here, editorial's criticism, lack of global consensus on climate change goals. I think there is consensus. Answer should be, in my opinion, the commitment of major economies to renewable energy that has been criticized. Read the passage and make sure you got the right one. How many countries have so far endorsed the pledge to triple renewable energy capacity? What is the exact number? This is based on explicit information, should not be that difficult to answer. How many countries have so far endorsed the pledge to triple renewable energy capacity? Very good. Answer is 118, 118. Perfect. What is the primary reason for India's reluctance to fully endorse the Global Renewables and Energy Efficiency Pledge? Primary reason for reluctance to fully endorse the Global Renewables and Energy Efficiency Pledge. That's true. Lack of financial resources, opposition from environmental activists, concerns about the phasing down of unabated coal power, pressure from other G20 nations. A third one is not A, it is C. Concerns about the phasing down of unabated coal power. Not A, C is the answer. Question number 4. According to the editorial, what is the editorial stance on global pledges and declarations related to climate change? They are effective in addressing climate change concerns. They are worthless without an honest commitment to replace fossil fuel capacity. They are primarily endorsed by developing countries. They are legally binding and enforceable. This is also easy to answer. Not fourth one is not C. Fourth one is B. They are worthless. At the fag end of the editorial, the last sentence talks about that. They are worthless without an honest commitment to replace fossil fuel capacity. They may say a lot, but honest commitment implementation required. When you don't see those things, worthless, no use, just value of a paper. Question number 5. According to the editorial, what percentage of India's greenhouse gas emissions is attributed to coal fired plants? Again, based on explicit information. What is the answer? Question number 5. 70% clearly mentioned in the past editorial. 70%. That's all for today. Today I have done very fast, or it's a short editorial. I'm not quite sure, but not even 27 minutes. Surprising. Thanks for being with me till the fag end of the session. Do remember to subscribe and share. I will see you guys tomorrow. 1 or 2 days, SBI Clerk 2024 English mocks. I'm not sure about the time slot. Yesterday it was at 3 p.m. Today at 6 p.m. 1 or 2 days, then I will decide, I will let you know. No, already I have brought to SBI Pandu, I have brought to SBI Clerk 2024 20 questions, mini mocks. I cannot bring again. Did you join that session? 6 o'clock. There you have the questions, practice questions from SBI Clerk.